First contact and hostilities. The vast expanse of space had always beckoned humanity, a siren call of endless possibilities and untold wonders. But on that fateful day in 2157, as the skies above Earth darkened with the arrival of an alien armada, Captain Elena Rodriguez realized that sometimes the unknown could be terrifying. Standing on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced starship, Elena watched in horror as the alien vessels emerged from hyperspace. Their sleek obsidian hulls seemed to absorb light itself, creating an ominous void against the backdrop of stars. Status report. Elena barked, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Her first officer, Commander Takashi Yamamoto, responded with practiced calm. 15 vessels detected, Captain. Energy readings are off the charts. They're not responding to our hails. Elena's mind raced. Humanity had only recently ventured beyond their solar system, and this was their first encounter with an advanced alien civilization. Everything hinged on these crucial moments. Keep trying all frequencies, she ordered, and alert Earth Defense Command. We need tow. Her words were cut short as a blinding beam of energy lanced out from the lead alien ship, striking one of Earth's orbital defense platforms. The structure erupted in a silent explosion, debris scattering across low orbit. They're attacking, Takashi shouted, his composure finally cracking. Elena gripped the arms of her command chair. Battle stations. All hands. Prepare for combat. The next hours were a blur of chaos and destruction. The alien force, which they would later learn called themselves the Zarkesh, unleashed a devastating assault on Earth's defenses. The UES Horizon, along with the rest of Earth's fledgling space fleet, fought valiantly but were grossly outmatched. As the battle raged, Elena received a priority transmission from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Hassan's grim face appeared on her personal screen. Captain Rodriguez, we're initiating Operation Scorched Earth, he said, his voice heavy with the weight of his decision. You're to lead a strike team aboard the alien flagship. Your mission: disable their weapon systems at all costs. Elena's heart raced. It was a suicide mission, but she understood the desperation behind the order. Understood, Admiral. We won't let you down. Using experimental stealth technology, Elena and a small team of elite soldiers managed to infiltrate the Zarkesh flagship. The alien interior was a maze of twisting corridors and pulsing bioluminescent lights. As they navigated through the ship, dispatching alien guards with precision, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about this war. Why had the Zarkesh attacked without provocation? And why did some of the alien crew members they encountered seem confused by the presence of human intruders? Their luck ran out in a vast chamber that Elena assumed was the ship's engineering section. An ambush separated her from the rest of her team, forcing her to seek an alternate route to the weapons control center. It was during this detour that fate intervened. Elena stumbled upon what appeared to be private quarters, far more ornate than the utilitarian corridors they had passed through. And there, writhing on the floor in obvious agony, was a Zarkesh unlike any they had encountered. This alien was clearly female, her iridescent scales shimmering with each pain movement. Elaborate jewelry and flowing robes marked her as someone of importance. With a jolt, Elena realized she was looking at the Zarkesh leader, their queen. Every instinct screamed at Elena to turn away, to complete her mission, and possibly end this war. But something held her in place. The queen's eyes, filled with pain and confusion, locked onto Elena's. In that moment, the human captain saw something she never expected. Fear. Acting on instinct, Elena rushed to the alien queen's side. Her medical training kicked in as she recognized the symptoms of a severe allergic reaction. Without hesitation, she reached for the universal antidote in her field kit, a recent innovation designed to work across various alien physiologies. As Elena administered the antidote, a chilling realization dawned on her. This wasn't a natural reaction. The symptoms were consistent with exposure to a biological weapon, one that shouldn't exist according to intergalactic treaties. The Queen's breathing steadied, her alien features relaxing as the antidote took effect. Alina found herself face to face with the leader of the force currently devastating her homeworld. Yet in this surreal moment, all she saw was a being in need of help. Alarms blared throughout the ship, reminding Alina of the battle raging outside. She knew that in the coming moments, her actions would determine the fate of humanity. Would the Zarkesh Queen's brush with death soften her stance on humans? Or would Alina's compassion be rewarded with immediate execution? As the alien monarch regained her faculties, Alina tensed. She was trapped in enemy territory, cut off from her team, with no clear path to completing her mission. The weight of Earth's survival pressed down on her as she prepared to face the consequences of her choice, a choice that had saved a life but might have doomed her entire species. The Zarkesh Queen's eyes, a swirling mix of silver and violet, focused on Alina. When she spoke, her voice was a melodic hum that seemed to bypass Alina's ears and resonate directly in her mind. "Human," the Queen said, her mental voice tinged with a mix of confusion and lingering pain. "Why did you save me?" Alina swallowed hard, acutely aware of her vulnerable position. She decided that honesty was her best, and perhaps only, option. Because it was the right thing to do, she replied simply, meeting the Queen's gaze. The alien monarch's expression was unreadable, but Alina sensed a flicker of something. Surprise, perhaps, in those otherworldly eyes. "I am Queen Selera of the Zarkesh Imperium," the Queen announced, her mental voice growing stronger. "And you, human, have acted in a manner most unexpected." Before Alina could respond, the door to the chamber burst open. A squad of Zarkesh soldiers rushed in, weapons trained on the lone human. Alina tensed, preparing for the worst, but Queen Selera raised a hand, halting her guards. "This human has done me a great service," Selera declared. "She will not be harmed." The soldiers lowered their weapons, though Alina could sense their confusion and reluctance. She realized that this moment, born of a split-second decision to help someone in need, might just be the key to averting this devastating war. "Your Majesty," Alina said, choosing her words carefully, "I believe there's been a terrible misunderstanding. The attack on my world. There's more going on here than either of us realizes." Zelera studied Alina intently. "Explain, human. But know that if you speak falsely, your life is forfeit." Taking a deep breath, Alina recounted the events leading up to this moment. Earth's first detection of the Zarkesh fleet, the unprovoked attack, and her mission to disable the flagship's weapons. As she spoke, she saw something change in Selera's expression. "Impossible," the Queen murmured. "We received transmissions from your world. Threats of annihilation, boasts of biological weapons that could eradicate our species. Our attack was preemptive, to save our people." Alina's mind reeled. "Your Majesty, I swear to you, Earth has made no such threats. We've only recently developed interstellar travel. We don't possess that kind of technology." A tense silence fell over the room. Alina could almost see the wheels turning in Selera's mind as the Queen processed this information. Finally, the Zarkesh monarch spoke. "If what you say is true, human, then we have both been deceived. The question remains, by whom?" As if in answer to the Queen's question, a violent shudder ran through the ship. Alarms blared, and the lighting shifted to a pulsing red. One of the Zarkesh soldiers rushed to a nearby console. "My Queen," he reported, his mental voice tight with tension. "We're detecting a massive energy buildup on the planet's surface. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Alina's blood ran cold. She remembered the biological weapon that had nearly killed Selera, the strange circumstances surrounding this war. "Your Majesty," she said urgently, "I think we've both been manipulated into this conflict. That energy buildup, it could be a weapon capable of destroying both our species." Selera's eyes narrowed, But Elena saw a glimmer of understanding in their depths. The queen turned to her guards. "Stand down all attacks on the human world," she ordered, "and prepare my personal shuttle." Elena blinked in surprise. "Your Majesty." Zelhara fixed her with a piercing gaze. "You saved my life, human. Now we shall endeavor to save both our peoples. Come, we have a mystery to solve and a war to stop." As Elena followed Queen Zelhara out of the chamber, she marveled at the bizarre turn of events. Just hours ago, she had been leading a desperate mission against the Zarkesh. Now she found herself allied with their queen, racing against time to uncover the truth behind this conflict and prevent a catastrophe that threatened both their worlds. The future of Earth and the Zarkesh Imperium hung in the balance, with the most unlikely of partnerships at its center. As they hurried towards the shuttle bay, Elena steeled herself for the challenges ahead. The hardest part of their mission was yet to come, and the consequences of failure were too devastating to contemplate. The unexpected alliance. Queen Zelhara's personal shuttle streaked through Earth's atmosphere, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to both human and Zarkesh sensors. Inside, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood beside the alien monarch, watching as the blue-green orb of her homeworld grew larger in the viewscreen. "Your world is beautiful," Zelhara remarked, her mental voice tinged with a mix of awe and regret. "I wish our first encounter had been under different circumstances." Elena nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "There's still time to make this right," she said, hoping her words were true. The shuttle's sensors pinpointed the source of the mysterious energy buildup, a remote facility hidden deep in the Atacama Desert. As they approached, Elena's comlink crackled to life. "Captain Rodriguez, this is Earth Defense Command," came Admiral Hassan's voice, tense with barely contained fury. "You are ordered to explain your actions immediately. Why have the alien attacks ceased? And why are we detecting an unknown craft entering our atmosphere?" Elena took a deep breath. "Admiral, the situation has changed. I'm with the Zarkesh Queen. We've discovered that both our species have been manipulated into this conflict. The real threat is on the surface, and we're moving to neutralize it." There was a long pause before Hassan responded. "This is highly irregular, Captain, but given the circumstances, proceed with caution. I'm dispatching a support team to your location." As the shuttle touched down on the desert floor, Elena and Zelhara emerged into the scorching heat. A shimmer in the air caught Elena's attention, and suddenly, a group of figures appeared, her strike team, using their experimental cloaking devices. Commander Takeshi Yamamoto stepped forward, his eyes widening at the sight of the Zarkesh Queen. "Captain, what's going on?" Quickly, Elena brought her team up to speed. To their credit, the soldiers adapted quickly to the bizarre turn of events, forming a protective perimeter around Elena and Zelhara as they approached the hidden facility. The entrance was disguised as part of a rock formation, but Zelhara's advanced sensors easily detected the hidden door. As they prepared to breach the entrance, a familiar voice boomed from hidden speakers. "Well, well, I must say, I'm impressed by how quickly you've all come together. It's almost heartwarming." Elena's blood ran cold. She recognized that voice. "General Marcus Stone," she growled. "I should have known you were behind this." Stone chuckled, the sound sending shivers down Elena's spine. "Captain Rodriguez, always the idealist. Did you really think humanity could coexist peacefully with aliens? I've simply accelerated the inevitable conflict." Zelhara's mental voice resonated with barely contained rage. "You sent those false transmissions. You're responsible for this war." "Guilty as charged, Your Majesty," Stone replied, his tone mocking. "But my work is far from finished. In fact, you're all right on schedule." Before anyone could react, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. The rock face split open, revealing a massive hangar bay. Inside, Elena could see a colossal machine, a particle accelerator of impossible size and complexity. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Stone's voice dripped with pride. The culmination of decades of secret research. With this, I'll reshape the very fabric of reality. Humanity will reign supreme, and your kind, your majesty, will be nothing but a memory. Elena's mind raced. She turned to Xelora, an unspoken plan forming between them. The queen nodded, understanding passing between them without words. Now, Elena shouted. In perfect synchronization, Elena's team and Xelora's guards sprang into action. They charged into the facility, using their combined firepower to overwhelm Stone's defenses. Elena and Xelora moved as one, covering each other as they fought their way deeper into the complex. As they battled through waves of Stone's fanatical followers, Elena couldn't help but marvel at how quickly she and Xelora had come to trust each other. It was as if their brief encounter on the Zarkesh flagship had forged a bond between them, a shared understanding that transcended their differences. They finally reached the main control room, where General Stone stood before a massive control panel. The particle accelerator hummed ominously, its energy readings climbing to dangerous levels. "It's over, Stone," Elena called out, her weapon trained on the rogue general. "Shut it down." Stone turned to face them, a maniacal grin spreading across his face. "Oh, I don't think so, Captain. You see, you've played your part perfectly. All of you." His gaze swept over the mixed group of humans and Zarkesh. "Did you really think I'd let a few aliens and traitors stop me from saving humanity?" With a dramatic flourish, Stone pressed a series of buttons on the control panel. The particle accelerator's hum increased to a deafening roar. "You're insane," Elena shouted over the noise. "That thing will destroy Earth along with the Zarkesh." Stone's eyes gleamed with fanatical intensity. "A small price to pay for our species' purity. And when the dust settles, I'll lead humanity into a new golden age." Elena exchanged a quick glance with Xelora. In that moment, an unspoken plan formed between them. They had come too far, risked too much, to let one man's madness destroy everything. "Now," Elena yelled. She and Xelora sprang into action, each racing towards opposite sides of the room. Stone's guards opened fire, but the combined forces of Elena's team and Xelora's guards provided crucial covering fire. Elena reached her target, a secondary control panel near the accelerator's power core. Her fingers flew over the hybrid human-alien technology, searching for the failsafe she knew must exist. Across the room, Xelora engaged in hand-to-hand combat with Stone's cybernetically enhanced bodyguard. The Zarkesh Queen's natural strength and agility were put to the test as she fought to reach her own set of controls. "Elena," Xelora called out, her mental voice strained as she grappled with her opponent. "Whatever you're going to do it now." The captain's heart raced as she found what she was looking for, a series of emergency shutdown protocols. But there was a catch. The system required simultaneous deactivation from both panels. "Hello," Elena shouted. "On my mark, enter the sequence I showed you earlier. 3, 2, 1. Now." Time seemed to slow as Elena input the final command. Across the room, she saw Xelora do the same, the Queen's fingers moving in perfect sync with her own. For a terrifying moment, nothing happened. The particle accelerator continued to build power, its rings spinning faster and faster. Then, with a sound like the world itself sighing, the machine began to power down. The oppressive hum faded, and an eerie silence fell over the control room. Stone's anguished cry broke the quiet. "No, do you have any idea what you've done? The power we could have wielded." Elena approached the defeated general, her weapon still trained on him. "We've stopped a madman from destroying 2 worlds. That's what we've done." As Elena's team secured Stone and his remaining followers, she turned to find Xelora watching her. The Zarkesh Queen's alien features were difficult to read, but Elena sensed a mixture of respect and wonder in her gaze. "You've saved both our peoples, Elena Rodriguez," Xelora said, her mental voice filled with warmth. "Perhaps there is hope for coexistence after all." Elena smiled, feeling the weight of the past few days finally lifting from her shoulders. I think this is just the beginning, Your Majesty. We have a lot to learn from each other. As they emerged from the facility into the harsh desert sunlight, Elena saw a fleet of Earth Defense Force shuttles descending from the sky. At the same time, a squadron of Zarkesh ships shimmered into view, having dropped their cloaking fields. Admiral Hassan approached, his expression a mix of confusion and awe as he took in the sight of humans and Zarkesh standing side by side. Captain Rodriguez, he said, I think you have quite a story to tell. Elena exchanged a glance with Celara, both of them sharing a moment of quiet understanding. You have no idea, Admiral, she replied. But I think it's a story that's going to change everything. As the sun set over the Atacama Desert, casting long shadows across the alien and human ships standing together on the sand, Elena realized that this was more than just the end of a conflict. It was the dawn of a new era, one of cooperation, understanding, and shared discovery between Earth and the Zarkesh Imperium. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with diplomatic hurdles and cultural misunderstandings. But as Elena stood beside Queen Celara, watching their two peoples begin to cautiously interact, she knew that the future held incredible possibilities. All that had taken was one act of compassion, one moment of choosing to help rather than harm, to change the course of history for both their species. And as the stars began to appear in the darkening sky above, Elena couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement for what lay ahead. The universe, it seemed, was full of wonders yet to be discovered. And now, Earth and the Zarkesh would explore it together. Journey to the heart of conflict. In the weeks following the averted catastrophe in the Atacama Desert, Earth and the Zarkesh Imperium found themselves navigating uncharted diplomatic waters. The revelation of General Stone's manipulation had opened the door to peace, but centuries of isolation and mutual suspicion were not so easily overcome. Captain Elena Rodriguez, now hailed as a hero on both worlds, found herself at the center of this delicate dance of diplomacy. She had been appointed as Earth's official liaison to the Zarkesh, working closely with Queen Celara to bridge the gap between their two species. On this particular day, Elena stood before the United Earth Council, delivering her latest report on the progress of human-Zarkesh relations. The council chamber, a vast amphitheater of gleaming metal and smart glass, was filled to capacity with representatives from every nation on Earth. The cultural exchange program is proceeding smoothly, Elena announced, her voice echoing through the chamber. We've had over 1,000 volunteers from both species participate in short-term residencies on each other's worlds. The results have been enlightening. Admiral Hassan, now the head of the newly formed interspecies cooperative, leaned forward. Can you elaborate, Captain? Elena nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of her mouth. It turns out, Admiral, that despite our physical differences, we share many commonalities with the Zarkesh. They have art, music, literature, and a curiosity about the universe that rivals our own. But there have been challenges too. Our different biologies mean we require separate living quarters, and there have been some interesting misunderstandings regarding social customs. A ripple of laughter passed through the chamber, easing some of the tension. Elena was about to continue when her comlink chimed urgently. She frowned, recognizing the priority code. Excuse me, Council. I need to take this. Stepping aside, Elena activated her comlink. Queen Celara's holographic form shimmered into existence before her, the Zarkesh monarch's expression grave. Elena, we have a situation. Celara's mental voice resonated with urgency. A Zarkesh science vessel has gone missing in the Ta-City system. Its last transmission mentioned detecting an anomaly unlike anything we've ever encountered. Elena's mind raced. Ta-City was on the outer fringes of explored space, far from the regular patrol routes of either species. Could it be some kind of natural phenomenon? Celara's holographic form shimmered, her agitation clear even through the projection. Possibly, but the data we received before losing contact. Elena, it bears similarities to the energy readings we saw from Stone's particle accelerator. A chill ran down Elena's spine. They had dismantled Stone's machine and arrested his known associates, but had they truly uncovered the full extent of his conspiracy? I'm assembling a joint mission, Zelera continued. The UES Horizon and my flagship, the Starweaver, will investigate together. Elena, I want you to lead the human contingent. Elena nodded, her decision made in an instant. I'll be there, Your Majesty. We'll get to the bottom of this. Turning back to the council, Elena quickly explained the situation. To her relief, they understood the gravity of the matter and gave their immediate approval for the mission. 48 hours later, Elena stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, watching as the sleek form of the Zarkesh Starweaver fell into formation alongside them. The two ships, once mortal enemies, now moved in perfect synchronization as they prepared to jump to hyperspace. All systems ready, Captain, Commander Takashi reported from his station. The Starweaver signals they're prepared as well. Elena took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. All right, let's do this. Engage hyperdrive on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. The stars outside the view screen elongated into streaks of light as both ships leaped into hyperspace. The journey to Ta City would take several days, even at faster-than-light speeds. Elena used the time to coordinate with Zelera, reviewing the scant data they had and preparing for every possible scenario. As they neared their destination, tension aboard both ships reached a fever pitch. Nobody knew what they would find in the Ta City system, but everyone understood the potential stakes. Exiting hyperspace in 3, 2, 1. Takashi's voice cut through the tense silence on the bridge. The streaks of light outside the view screen collapsed back into pinpricks as the Horizon and the Starweaver emerged into real space. The Ta City system spread out before them, its yellow sun casting a warm glow across a handful of rocky planets. Scanning for the missing science vessel, Elena ordered, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. Minutes ticked by as both ships swept the system with their sensors. Just as Elena was beginning to fear they'd hit a dead end, an alarm blared from the science station. Captain, Lieutenant Zara Okoro called out, her voice tight with excitement and fear. I'm detecting a massive energy signature near the system's fourth planet. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Elena leaned forward, studying the readings on her personal console. Her breath caught in her throat as she recognized the telltale signs of a particle accelerator, but on a scale that dwarfed even Stone's monstrous creation. Zelera, Elena called out, knowing the Queen would be monitoring the same data on the Starweaver. Are you seeing this? The Zarkesh monarch's mental voice resonated with a mix of awe and trepidation. I am, Elena. It appears we've stumbled upon something far larger than we anticipated. As they watched, a section of space near Ta City IV seemed to ripple and distort. A massive structure shimmered into view, its true size becoming apparent as it dropped some kind of cloaking field. By all the stars, Takashi whispered, giving voice to the shock they all felt. The structure was a ring, easily the size of a small moon. Energy pulsed along its surface in mesmerizing patterns, and at its center was a swirling vortex of light and color. It's a gateway. Zelera's mental voice was filled with wonder. A doorway to somewhere else. Before Elena could respond, a fleet of ships emerged from behind Ta City IV. Their design was unlike anything human or Zarkesh, all sharp angles and pulsing energy fields. Captain, we're being hailed, Takashi reported, his fingers flying over his console. It's coming from the lead ship of that fleet. Elena straightened her uniform, steeling herself for first contact with yet another alien species. On screen, she ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a being that defied easy description. It seemed to be composed of pure energy, its form constantly shifting and changing. Greetings, explorers. The being's voice resonated directly in their minds, much like Celera's, but with an otherworldly quality that sent shivers down Elena's spine. "We are the architects. We've been expecting you." Elena exchanged a bewildered glance with her crew before responding. "I'm Captain Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Ship Horizon. We're here investigating a missing Zarkesh vessel. Can you assist us?" The beam's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Your missing ship is safe, Captain, as are you. But I'm afraid your journey here was never about a simple rescue mission." "What do you mean?" Elena asked, a sense of unease growing in the pit of her stomach. "You stand at a crossroads, Captain Rodriguez," the architect replied. "You and Queen Celera. The choices you make here will determine the fate of not just your two species, but countless others across the cosmos." The beam's form expanded, filling the view screen with swirling patterns of light and color. "Come aboard our station, representatives of Earth and the Zarkesh Imperium. It's time you learned the truth about your place in the universe and the role you must play in what is to come." As the transmission cut off, Elena found herself grappling with a dizzying mix of emotions. Fear, excitement, curiosity, all warred for dominance as she contemplated the architect's invitation. "Orders, Captain?" Takashi asked, his voice steady despite the extraordinary circumstances. Elena took a deep breath, centering herself. She thought of the journey that had brought them here, from bitter enemies to tentative allies, and now standing together on the brink of something far greater than they had ever imagined. "Contact the Starweaver," she said, her voice firm with resolve. "Tell Queen Celera we're accepting the architect's invitation. It's time to discover what's really going on out here." As the Horizon and the Starweaver maneuvered towards the colossal ring structure, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were about to embark on the most important mission of their lives. Whatever lay ahead, she was grateful to have Celera by her side. Together, human and Zarkesh would face this new challenge, and perhaps change the course of cosmic history in the process. The journey to the heart of the conflict had led them farther than they could have ever imagined. And now, on the edge of the unknown, a new chapter in their shared story was about to begin. Revelations and sacrifices. The shuttle carrying Elena, Celera, and a small team of both human and Zarkesh representatives glided silently through the vast expanse of the architect's ring station. As they approached a docking bay, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the sheer scale and complexity of the structure. "It's beautiful," Celera's mental voice resonated with awe. "And terrifying." Elena nodded in agreement. "I never imagined we'd find something like this out here. It makes me wonder what else is waiting for us in the universe." As their shuttle touched down, they were greeted by one of the energy beings they now knew as the architects. Its form shimmered and pulsed, casting an otherworldly glow across the docking bay. "Welcome," the architect's voice echoed in their minds. "I am Xylix, your guide. Please, follow me." They were led through winding corridors of shimmering energy and impossible geometry. Elena felt as if her senses were being constantly challenged, struggling to comprehend the alien architecture around them. Finally, they entered a vast chamber. At its center stood a holographic representation of the galaxy, stars, and nebulae swirling in breathtaking detail. "Behold," Xylix said, its form expanding to encompass the entire room. "The tapestry of life in our galaxy." The hologram zoomed in, focusing on various star systems. Elena and Celera watched in amazement as they saw countless worlds teeming with life, civilizations rising and falling in the blink of an eye. "For eons," Xylix continued, "we architects have watched over the development of life in this galaxy. We have guided, we have nurtured, and when necessary, we have intervened." The hologram shifted, showing scenes of cosmic cataclysms narrowly averted, of species saved from extinction by mysterious forces. "But now we face a threat unlike any we have encountered before." Xylix's voice grew grave. "A darkness is spreading across the cosmos, consuming all in its path. We call it the void. The hologram changed again, showing a creeping blackness that seemed to devour light itself. Entire star systems winked out of existence as it passed. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. What is it? Some kind of weapon. Xylix's form pulsed with what might have been sadness. In a sense, the void is the result of an experiment gone horribly wrong. A species not unlike your own sought to harness the fundamental forces of the universe. They created a tear in the fabric of reality itself. Zelera's mental voice was filled with horror, like what General Stone was attempting. Precisely, Xylix confirmed. Stone's work was dangerously close to replicating the catastrophe that created the void. That is why we guided events to bring you two together. Elena's mind reeled. You manipulated us. The war, the conflict, it was all part of your plan. Xylix's form shimmered apologetically. We nudged events in certain directions, yes, but the choices were always your own. Your decision to save Zelera Elena was a pivotal moment. It proved that your species could overcome their differences and work together. But why us? Zelera asked. Surely there are more advanced civilizations that could help you fight this void. The hologram shifted again, focusing on Earth and the Zarkesh homeworld. Your species possess a unique combination of traits: creativity, resilience, adaptability. But more importantly, you have something many older races have lost: the capacity for rapid growth and change. Elena and Zelera exchanged a glance, both feeling the weight of responsibility settling on their shoulders. What do you need us to do? Elena asked, her voice steady despite the enormity of what they were facing. Xylix's form contracted, focusing into a more humanoid shape. We need you to lead. To unite not just your own peoples, but others across the galaxy. To form an alliance capable of standing against the void. The hologram changed one last time, showing a device of mind-bending complexity. This is the Nexus Key, Xylix explained. A tool capable of sealing the breach that spawned the void. But to use it, we need a fleet of ships and warriors willing to risk everything. Elena took a deep breath, looking around at her team, and then at Zelera. She saw determination in their eyes, a shared resolve to face this threat head-on. We'll do it, Elena said, her voice firm. Whatever it takes. Zelera nodded in agreement. Our peoples will stand together against this darkness. Xylix's form pulsed with what might have been relief. Then let us begin. Time is short, and the fate of all life in the galaxy hangs in the balance. The next few months were a whirlwind of activity. Elena and Zelera returned to their respective worlds, bearing news that would change the course of history for both species. The revelation of the void threat and the Architect's role in recent events was met with shock, disbelief, and eventually, grim determination. A grand alliance was formed, with Earth and the Zarkesh at its core. Other species, guided by the Architects, joined their cause. A massive fleet was assembled, ships of various designs and technologies united under a single banner. Elena found herself promoted to admiral, in command of the combined fleet. Zelera, while still queen of her people, took on the role of chief diplomat, using her wisdom and mental abilities to forge bonds between disparate species. As the day of reckoning approached, Elena stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, now the flagship of the Alliance fleet. Beside her, Zelera's holographic form shimmered into existence. The fleet is assembled, Zelera reported. All ships report ready. Elena nodded, her eyes fixed on the view screen where the swirling vortex of a wormhole was forming, their pathway to the void's incursion point. This is Admiral Rodriguez to all ships. Elena's voice rang out across the comms. We stand on the brink of the greatest battle in the history of our species, of all species. The road that brought us here has been long and fraught with challenges. But look around you. See the allies at your side, the unity we forged in the face of this threat. She paused, letting her words sink in. Whatever happens on the other side of that wormhole, know this. Together, we are stronger than any force that seeks to destroy us. For our homes, for our families, for all life in this galaxy, we will prevail. A thunderous cheer erupted across the comms, a united voice of defiance against the encroaching darkness. All ships, Alina commanded, her voice steady and resolute. Prepare for wormhole transit. May the stars guide us to victory. As the massive fleet began to move towards the shimmering portal, Alina felt Celera's mental touch, a comforting presence in the face of the unknown. Whatever happens, my friend, Celera's voice resonated in her mind. It has been an honor to share this journey with you. Alina smiled, drawing strength from their bond. The honor is mine, Celera. Now let's go save the galaxy. With a flash of light and a surge of energy, the Alliance fleet plunged into the wormhole, hurtling towards their date with destiny. The final battle for the fate of all life in the galaxy was about to begin, with humanity and the Zarkesh leading the charge against the encroaching void. A new era of understanding. The wormhole transit was unlike anything Alina had ever experienced. Colors and sensations beyond human comprehension washed over her as the Alliance fleet hurtled through the fabric of space-time. When they finally emerged on the other side, the sight that greeted them was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Before them stretched a vast expanse of nothingness, the void. It was a darkness so complete that it seemed to devour light itself. At its edges, stars and entire systems were being pulled in, their matter and energy consumed by the insatiable hunger of the cosmic anomaly. By the ancestors, Celera's mental voice was tinged with horror and awe. It's even worse than we imagined. Alina nodded grimly. All ships, battle formations, protect the Nexus key at all costs. As the fleet moved into position, the void seemed to react to their presence. Tendrils of darkness lashed out, grasping at the nearest ships. Where they touched, metal corroded and energy fields flickered. Evasive maneuvers. Alina shouted, "Don't let those tendrils touch you." The battle that followed was like nothing in the history of any species present. Ships darted and weaved through three-dimensional space, firing weapons that bent the laws of physics. Beams of pure energy lanced out at the encroaching darkness, while gravity wells and temporal distortion fields were deployed to hold back the void's advance. In the midst of the chaos, a small team led by Celera made their way towards the heart of the void. They carried with them the Nexus key, the device the architects had created to seal the breach in reality. Alina watched from the horizon's bridge as Celera's ship, escorted by the best pilots from a dozen species, navigated the treacherous path to their target. "Admiral," Lieutenant Okoro called out, "we're detecting massive energy fluctuations from within the void. Something's coming through." Alina's blood ran cold as she saw what emerged from the darkness. It was a ship, if such a term could be applied to the monstrosity before them. It seemed to be composed of the same light-devouring material as the void itself, its form constantly shifting and changing. "All ships, focus fire on that thing," Alina ordered. "We need to buy Celera more time." The Alliance fleet turned its combined firepower on the void construct. For a moment, it seemed to falter under the onslaught. But then it retaliated. Beams of anti-light lashed out, slicing through shields and hulls as if they were paper. Entire ships winked out of existence, their matter and energy absorbed into the void. "We can't hold out." Alina gritted her teeth, watching as Celera's ship inched closer to its goal. "We don't need much longer, just a little more time." As if in answer to her plea, a new fleet of ships suddenly erupted from wormholes all around them. Alina recognized designs from species they had encountered on their journey, races that had been hesitant to join their alliance. "This is High Commander Jor of the Caldraxian Imperium," a gruff voice came over the comms. "Looks like you could use a hand, humans." Alina laughed despite the dire situation. "Your timing is impeccable, Commander. Let's finish this." With the reinforcements turning the tide, Celera's team finally reached their destination, the very center of the void, where reality itself seemed to fray and come apart. We're in position. Zelera's mental voice resonated with determination, initiating the Nexus key now. A blinding light erupted from the heart of the void, so bright that even the view screens on distant ships had to polarize to compensate. The Nexus key pulsed with energy, sending out waves of reality-altering force. Where these waves touched the void, it began to recede. The darkness pulled back, revealing the stars it had consumed. The void construct writhed in what might have been agony, its form dissolving as the fundamental forces it had defied reasserted themselves. For several tense minutes, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. And then, with a final pulse of energy from the Nexus key, the void collapsed in on itself. Where once there had been an all-consuming darkness, now there was only the star-studded tapestry of normal space. Cheer erupted across the comms, a jubilant cry of victory from a dozen different species. Elena sagged in her chair, the tension of battle finally leaving her body. "We did it," she whispered, a smile spreading across her face. "We actually did it." As the Alliance fleet regrouped, tending to their wounded and assessing the damage, Elena received a transmission from the architects. "You have done well, Admiral Rodriguez." Xylix's mental voice was filled with warmth. "You and Queen Celera have proven that our faith in your species was not misplaced." Elena nodded, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "What happens now?" Xylix's form shimmered with what might have been a smile. "Now, the real work begins. The galaxy you return to will be forever changed by what has transpired here. Old rivalries have been set aside, new alliances forged. You have shown that unity is possible, even in the face of cosmic horror. There will be challenges ahead," the architect continued, "but we believe that together, you will meet them. The time has come for us to step back, to let the younger races chart their own course." As the architect's presence faded, Elena turned to see Celera's ship docking with the horizon. Minutes later, the Zarkesh Queen strode onto the bridge, her alien features alight with joy and relief. Without a word, Elena embraced her friend, marveling at how far they had come from their first hostile encounter. "So," Celera said as they parted, her mental voice tinged with amusement, "what shall we do next, my friend?" Elena laughed, gesturing to the view screen where ships from a dozen different species floated side by side. "I think we have a galaxy to rebuild. And this time, we'll do it together." In the years that followed, the alliance that had formed to face the void became the foundation for a new galactic community. Earth and the Zarkesh Imperium stood at its center, but not as conquerors or rulers. Instead, they became facilitators, using their unique bond to help bridge the gaps between vastly different species and cultures. Elena and Celera, hailed as heroes across the galaxy, found themselves taking on new roles. They became ambassadors of unity, traveling to distant worlds to share their story and the lessons they had learned. And as they stood together on the observation deck of a new jointly designed exploration vessel, watching the stars streak by in hyperspace, Elena couldn't help but marvel at the journey that had brought them here. "You know," she said, turning to Celera with a smile, "when I first saw your ships appearing over Earth, I never imagined we'd end up here." Celera's mental laughter rippled through Elena's mind. "Nor did I. When you first appeared in my chambers with that antidote, it seems the universe had greater plans for us both." Elena nodded, her gaze returning to the stars. "To think, it all started with one simple act of compassion, and it will continue with many more," Celera added, her mental voice filled with warmth.